Welcome back to another Professional Picks college basketball video. We hit our last time out on Purdue, on the road at U of I, and we're on a nice little run, also hitting on Tennessee and Wisconsin. Our last two Twitter bets make it 3 in a row now. Today, we're looking at one of the most highly anticipated games of every season, really. We have the number 7 Tar Heels heading to Cameron Indoor to play the number 9 Duke Blue Devils in the top 10 matchup. It's going to be the best game of the weekend. At least that's how it's looking to shape up. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content so far. Let me know what you're taking in the comments, or if there's any other games that you guys want a lean or a preview on. Let's get into the game. Both teams are coming into this matchup at 24-6, but Carolina does hold a 1-game lead in conference play. If they win this game, they'll win the ACC outright. Duke can win it and grab a share of the ACC regular season title. These two teams were expected to be at the top of the conference, but Duke was preseason number 2. Hasn't really lived up to that elite level yet. They are still a really good basketball team, but just haven't put it fully together to grab one of those 1 seeds as they were projected. On the other hand, UNC was preseason number 19. Felt a little high initially after the previous season, but Hubert Davis has done a tremendous job turning around this team between the transfers, just the cohesion, and really improving that defense. So heading into this final week of the regular season, we do have a top 10 matchup between two very even teams. Ken Palm has Duke at number 7 actually, and UNC at number 8. Saying Duke is a little bit better, maybe by 1.5 points or so. And with that reasoning, was a little bit surprised to see the spread here at 4.5, but we'll get into that a little bit more. And I say that because college basketball, for the large part, has been huge home advantages. I would say on average by a 6-point spread swing, where you compare that with the NFL, usually give you 3 points for the home field advantage. But college basketball home court's been crazy. It has been the last few years, but I do think we can still find some value on this matchup. Both teams are balanced, but Duke has a top 10 offense and UNC has a top 10 defense, while UNC has an offense in the 20s and Duke has a defense in the 20s. So they're very similar, just flip-flopped. One team has strength more so on the offensive end, while the other one's on the defensive side. And I normally do like to lean with the defensive teams. That usually seems to be a more consistent stat night in and night out. Defense really based off your effort, whereas you could be playing as hard as you want on the offensive end, but sometimes the shots aren't always going to fall. But going more into the player matchups, obviously everyone's going to be amped up for this game. Expect a lot of high energy and just high-level performance from both sides. But a small thing to at least look at, UNC does have 2 4-year seniors, with Baycott, I think, in his 5th year. But RJ Davis, Armando Baycott, you're going to get a little bit extra out of them. It's their final regular season matchup with Duke in their careers. They've been outstanding players in North Carolina, went to that Final Four a couple of years ago, and they're both playing great this year as well. You could also say the same for Jeremy Roach, but he's Duke's only 4-year senior on that end, and they're a little bit less experienced, while they do bring a lot of guys back from the previous year. A lot of sophomores on that Duke team. Not a huge factor, but still something to think about as you're looking at this game. And then jumping off the last point, this UNC team is really tough outside of looking at those 4-year seniors. Do have some really good transfers who are also upperclassmen between Cormac Ryan and Harrison Ingram. Cormac Ryan's the senior, transferred from Notre Dame. And they're glue guys in their own respects. Cormac Ryan, glue guy in the guard spot. Going to hit threes, should be really solid, and you're going to get a full effort from him, but be a highly intelligent player. And really it's the same case with Harrison Ingram. Transferred from Stanford, just has played solid basketball all year round. And I think these guys in their matchups against Mark Mitchell, Tyrese Proctor, that's really going to be the difference that decides this game. And Well, I know I was just saying you side with the guys who return. Like I would normally like Mark Mitchell, Tyrese Proctor, maybe this Duke team earlier in the season in this matchup, bringing back a lot of freshmen to the sophomore year. But yeah, a guy like Cormac Ryan in his final season, Harrison Ingram, who will probably come back to North Carolina, but you never know if they're going to have the same opportunity that they're having this year. I just think you're going to get a little bit more out of these upperclassmen. They're intelligent players. You might be able to get a couple mistakes out of that Duke team, which, for as great as they are, they still haven't played really, really sound fundamental basketball. And that's why they're a 9 seed here as opposed to being in a top 4 ranking and holding one of those 1 seeds as they were projected at the start of the season. And as talking about, Duke is technically the better team on paper. Looking at this spread, though, it does seem like the odds makers think this is just about even, or if not, North Carolina is even a little bit better on a neutral site, which I actually think is the case. I'm not going to just blindly follow everything Ken Pom says, as great as he is. And I do have a small inkling that this game is going to go similar to how the Duke-Tennessee game happened last tournament. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was the 4-5 matchup in Tennessee. A lot of older guys, upperclassmen, experience, and they beat Duke up, out-physicaled them. And I wouldn't be surprised if you get another case of that here in this matchup. I mean, you can see it there from the picture already. Bacot on Filipowski. Bacot's the stronger player. While he might not be as tall or long, I'll take him in the paint over Filipowski any day. I really hoped Filipowski would play a lot stronger this year. Still a great player, but I didn't really see quite the jump that I expected from him, at least on the physicality side. He's whines for a lot of calls when it's not going his way, and will just kind of settle for bad shots. Still a great scorer, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather go with Armando Bacot, a guy who's going to win the battle on the glass. He's going to get his points at the rim, and he's just going to try to out-physical you. I could rely on someone like that I think is going to be more consistent game to game versus Filipowski stepping out, hitting deep shots. You don't know if he's going to hit them. Very well could, and that could be the difference. But, I mean, for a guy who hasn't been super consistent from 3 at least, it's hard for me to lean on that end. But kind of went off track a little bit. But Duke got really good recruits, but like I was just talking about, they haven't developed as I expected. Just talked about Filipowski, but especially with Mark Mitchell, his jump shot actually got worse from freshman year to sophomore year. I thought he was going to make a jump. He is not. And while he does have a little bit of a size advantage with that Harrison Ingram matchup, Harrison Ingram's the older, just more developed player. He'll be able to hold his own in that matchup. And I think that's where we're going to see the one notable difference in this matchup is UNC. They already averaged 4.5 more rebounds per game. I really think they're going to win this game on the glass. Harrison Ingram, like we said, giving up a little size, but he's averaging 9.2 rebounds per game. Bacot averages just over 10 rebounds per game. So that's 20 rebounds per game between your two, your center and your stretch 4, however you want to word it. But, Harrison Ingram, better rebounder than Mitchell, could shoot the ball a little bit better from 3. And then I just think Bacot's going to win this game in the paint. Filipowski, if you could get him outside, hit those deep shots on him, that could be a difference. But I'm going to lean on Bacot winning this one in the paint. 5th-year senior, he's been consistent in his entire career. It's hard for me to go against him, especially when Filipowski doesn't play a really physical game. If the refs do let him play, and that's a big if, this could really start going North Carolina's way. And then another key inactive on why I think this spread is the 4.5 is Caleb Foster. He's going to be the one main guy missing this matchup. He was averaging 25 minutes per game and shooting over 40% from the 3-point line. He's a huge spark plug on the offense. And I think Duke can really struggle without him if they're not hitting their shots. He was that guy that came off the bench, and you could rely on him to hit a couple threes and shoot 40% from threes. Insane at the college level. So his loss definitely hurts his team, makes him go a little bit deeper in the rotation. Granted, he hasn't played for a couple weeks now, but this still affects his team's overall rating, and it does pull them down a little bit, and I think explain that 4.5 spread a little bit better. At the same time, Duke is one of the best true shooting teams in the country at 22nd overall in shooting percentage. Granted, Caleb Foster helped with that. But this is a team that can score their way to a win. They shoot the ball pretty well. But on the other hand, this is a legendary rivalry game between two top 10 teams to close out the regular season. I don't see this game being a game of finesse. Emotions are going to be high. The players are going to be playing extremely hard, knowing they get a little bit of rest heading into conference tournaments. I just think it's going to be a hard-fought battle, and it's really hard for me to not lean with the more experienced, the bigger team that rebounds harder in a game that I expect to be played that way. UNC, we just talked about how good Duke's field goal percentage is, and I really think they're just going to have to shoot their way to a win if they win this game. But UNC, they're well prepared for that as well. They're 12th overall in opponent field goal percentage. And if you just look at road games and opponent field goal percentage, they're 3rd overall in the country. Their defense actually gets better on the road. I love North Carolina plus 4.5. Not really sure if this one's going to move, but I would say just grab it at the 4.5 while it's already there. That's the pick for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Good luck this weekend. Gonna have another video coming out shortly. Thanks for watching.